Today, we're going to talk about cracking the code about book awards, everything you need to know before you begin applying, plus a brief invitation to use our service. And this is a masterclass for authors with a future, recent, or older completed book. Awards Basics. Actually, I call them Awards Basics 101. Book awards have existed for decades. The oldest one still around today that I've been able to find started in 1931, almost 100 years ago. And I think that's just amazing. And soon thereafter, that same group in California, they've been in continuous existence since 1931. Shortly after they opened up their doors, they gave John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath one of their early awards. There are over 10,000 awarded to English language books every year, and dozens or hundreds exist for virtually every book, no matter how long ago published, its genre, or its format. They are easy and inexpensive to apply for, but the big challenge about awards is knowing the right and the wrong ones for each author to apply for, and we make that part easy. When you win an award, you can describe yourself as an award-winning author forever, which is cool, even in your obituary, which is even cooler. But book awards are often misunderstood or overlooked as something that authors should consider. And we're going to change that today. Book awards have a lot in common with bestseller status. Both are man-made systems that benefit authors who know how the process works. They both get you noticed and admired while boosting your book's profile. They'll both elevate your status versus thousands of other authors. They both put your book on a path to remarkable results. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, you can claim each achievement forever. However, book award winners receive additional benefits that bestsellers don't. Plus, awards are lots more prestigious and powerful for authors than most bestseller designations. So you need to know that millions of authors who put their energy into becoming a bestseller and not into winning a book award, they are missing out in a big way. Why? Well, I've got 3 reasons. First of all, winners are sought by numerous collaborators and partners who only seek award winners. These are award-winning authors, award-winning books. These are libraries, who generally only will buy award-winning books, best book clubs, readers who prefer award-winning books when they're looking for a new author to discover or material to dive into when there are several books on the topic that are available. Podcast hosts who look for award winners, people seeking speakers who own stages or plan summits will often look for award winners first to fill in their program. The media, of course, in terms of people to quote in various media coverage, and that's just to name a few of them. So that's the first reason. There's a big miss out if someone has pursued or thinking about bestseller status, but is not thinking about awards. Number 2, book award winners have lots more prestige because there are many millions fewer of them than there are bestsellers. Think about it. With its 16,000 categories, Amazon designates more #1 bestsellers every hour than there are book award winners in a year. 16,000 categories every hour, 24 hours a day. That's over 300,000 in a day are named #1 at Amazon. And yeah, there's a lot of repetitious, same names that stay on for many of those hours, but that's a lot of peeps compared to just 10,000 awards in a year. And at 10,000 awards given in a year, it's going to take us 100 years to even get to have 1 million living award winners. And you know there are many million bestsellers alive today. And my third point about this is that award-winning books are deemed to be well-constructed and well-written because they are evaluated and scored by a multiple expert intensive judging process. This compares to bestseller status that reflects a book's marketing plan's success, and sometimes that for only a fleeting hour, day, or week. So, the bestseller status is not a direct evaluation of a book's permanent inherent quality as an outstanding vehicle for delivering information, a message, or an experience. Yet, that is exactly what book awards scoring systems reflect. So, these two accolades are measures of two entirely different things about a book, one being permanent and one being more of a fleeting measure on the marketing side. So the bottom line is that if you've pursued bestseller status or plan to, you need to also pursue awards. I consider awards and bestseller status like salt and pepper. They are very different things and they are very good together, as thousands of savvy authors who have pursued both know. My point of view is that bestseller status is great, but book awards carry more weight, and our service eliminates the tedious research to find the right awards to pursue. So, for all the reasons I've just described, award winners have elevated status and stand out in their niche in ways that bestsellers don't. And that can be worth tens of thousands of dollars in opportunities and cash for you over the years. My mission today is to demystify book awards, give you the info you need to begin applying for them, and get you excited about the boost they'll give your author career. Make no mistake, book awards can put you solidly on the path to author success that you've been dreaming about. In fact, awards do so much more than that. They literally change lives. As authors who win, or who even just pursue awards, see themselves in new ways. They see themselves as a winner, as a potential winner, as a leader, and they have greater confidence about their potential. They start thinking bigger and bolder and have expanded horizons just from that mindset shift. And they seek a higher level of success in all areas of life, Yes, book awards do change authors' lives. Let that sink in for a minute. This session is for you if you're a fiction or a nonfiction author wanting to distinguish yourself versus the other authors in your industry, genre, or niche. It's for you if you want your talent to be recognized and appreciated within your networks. And if you're a nonfiction author, by potential buyers of your products and services, as well as for all authors, potential buyers of your book. It's also for you if you want your book to open doors to high-value collaborations, opportunities, and invitations. And if you're serious about achieving author success. And finally, if you are ready to learn about book awards that are not only a very powerful book marketing tactic, but they also provide a big boost to authors' overall success. So when is the right time to learn about book awards? Well, my point of view is it's never too early because this knowledge will keep you motivated to create the very best book possible. And it might also alter your book's marketing plans, timetable, activities, and budget. And that's why I say book award education and actually researching what might be the right awards for you in your book can easily be useful to do just as you're planning your book or early in your days of getting your book underway. It's not just for when the book is almost done or completely done and out in the world. So let's drill down on the benefits of winning book awards. Probably most important and most intuitive is the recognition, the elevated status, credibility, validation, and visibility that come with being an award winner. Also, significant new PR and marketing opportunities. Some of those are actually part of the winners packages, but you can also create some of those new opportunities for yourself once you and your book are award winners. Also, reader interest in all your books, past as well as future, and discovery by more readers, book sales, new book distribution channels, more likely sales of your author rights, including foreign translation and TV and film, all come with being award-winning status. Plus, there's literary agent and publisher interest in your next book, if that should be the publishing path you decide to pursue going forward. You may actually have agents and publishers soliciting you as once you're a known award winner, and inviting you to engage them in whatever next book you have in mind. Also, important new relationships and networks, as we just mentioned a few slides ago. These are collaborators who specifically seek awards winners to invite into their world, and our service helps you with this. To get you discovered so you realize a real, tangible return on your books and on your awards investments. All this visibility translates into getting noticed by clients and prospects for what you sell if you write nonfiction. And last but not least, your messages and your point of view are amplified in the process of your becoming an award winner. So what this means for you, this is kind of a different take on some of the things we've touched on so far, but frames them a little differently. Which of these might be on your wish list? These are kind of what all the benefits all boil down to. And you can feel free to take a screenshot for this or on any of your slides, actually. To elevate your profile as an admired author. To differentiate your book versus others in your industry, genre, or niche. To point to your having an important, well-regarded, quality book. To attract high-value collaboration invitations and noteworthy opportunities you'd never get without an award. To be recognized as an expert about your book's topic and as a leader in your field if you write nonfiction. To open doors to building an author empire around the strength of your book. To attract new readers, fans, followers, and influencers. To enhance your return on investment from your book. To receive generous advances from a traditional publisher for your next book. And to exponentially boost your impact, influence, and income. So today's topics. We'll briefly touch on my background, how and why I became the leading expert about book awards, the lay of the land of book awards, common elements of the book awarding programs, typical submission process components so you can see how easy it is to master that process, the essentials to win, and we're going to introduce Book Award Mastery's comprehensive, fully personalized concierge research, planning, and application service that helps you know and apply for the right quality awards for you, your book, and your goals. So my background, top McGraw-Hill executive when Harold McGraw was CEO. McGraw-Hill hired me 49 years ago, next May. I've been in and out of the publishing industry ever since. My first book, self-published business book, hit big through strategies that every author with an expertise-based business can use. It brought me over $2 million in consulting revenues for my one-person business that I was running off my dining room table in Palo Alto, California. And it not only brought me the $2 million in consulting revenues, it brought me a client list of 106 new big company clients, and it made me an industry leader. I founded Executive Authors 20 years ago to ensure that business building authors use the right strategies that will actually generate the business and growth results that they seek from their book. And you might know that often this doesn't happen for business authors. So on the tail of the success of my first book, and then a series of 8 books that I created 2 years later, Executive Authors was an area that I started becoming an expert about. I've now authored 41 more nonfiction books, all in English, but some have sold worldwide, and most were in one of 3 series that I created. That's how the number got so big it's over 40 years, because my first book was 1987, just 40 years ago. And now I'm starting my 43rd book, actually, that I'll come to in a moment. I'm also a former Book Awards judge at a popular awards granting program. I consult with high profile organizations worldwide that want to create their own book awards program. I'm an expert about the tangible ROIs that awards bring, and that is now the subject of my 43rd book that I just started that describes 200 of the different tangible, real, door opener ROI investment or ROI opportunities that award winners have won, actual case studies. I've also achieved a remarkable book awards win rate of 75% from multiple awarding programs for some of my 42 books. And following that win rate, as I started talking about it around just before COVID, many of my book industry buddies, industry insiders, started beating me on the head, convincing me that I needed to reveal my awards research and application system for deciding the right awards to apply for and how to get the big benefits from winning. So I started focusing on curating a database of 10,000 quality awards, and I've now created the service called Book Award Mastery. Now let's get into the ins and outs of book awards. Everything today applies to previous, current, and future books created via a publisher or self-published. The lay of the land. Big picture is that giving awards requires 6 main activities. This gives you the context of the whole system as well as the kinds of things that are in the judges' minds. First of all, they need to create and announce their program's existence when they're creating a new one. They define their rules, their submission process, and the whole details of their program, and need to announce that to publishers, to industry professionals, to the media, and other influencers so that authors will be prompted to apply for their program's awards. They also need to set up their system for collecting the money and the submissions of books. They need to define their award scoring system and judging process. And man, oh man, there are hundreds of wildly different scoring systems and judging processes. So it's not a one size fits all world as you compare these programs to each other. They also have to hire, manage, and pay the judges, and have a system for announcing their awards winners. And lastly, they have to have a system for delivering their awards benefits. Another big picture aspect of the awards world is that authors or their book team members or anyone in their family or strangers, friends, colleagues, whatever, can apply for awards for a given author. It's not restricted to just have a narrow nomination channel for most of the awards that are out there. Awarding programs' reputations increase with longevity. Now, this is really important because it means that almost all of them have consistently publicized their multiple past year winners lists because that builds that reputation for them. But I have to give you a word of caution about this. Programs that have been in existence for 10, 20, or 30 years that appear on Google lists as the best awards to apply for very often aren't the right ones for you and your book. Those programs, kind of the workhorses of the industry well, not the early days. I've already mentioned the early days were 91 years ago, but from the middle period of the last 100 years, those programs get so many submissions because they are on those Google lists. So everyone in the world sees their name and considers them. They have so many submissions every year that fewer than 1% of the authors who apply ever win an award. Now, there are lots of other quality awards to pursue that have award win rates that are 10 or 20 times better than that. An example of that is Writer's Digest, a 40-year-old program that you probably have seen on Google lists. If you also Google Writer's Digest name and also Google the words 5,500 submissions, 46 awards, you will see the press release that has exactly that announcement, which is less than 1%. 5,500 submissions that they had their large judging team handle, but it only boiled down to 46 awards, less than 1%. That's very typical of the award programs that you get to find through Google. More big picture elements. Programs are not typically transparent. A benefit of this is that no one, not authors, not experts on book teams or inside publishing houses, can easily game the system in their favor or gain unfair advantage. But for some authors and their book teams, this non-transparency is why they are suspicious about awards fairness and about awards being worthwhile. So, for example, examples of the non-transparency is that we almost never know the total number of books submitted overall to a program each year or to their most popular categories. Despite my Writer's Digest example of a moment ago, it has taken me hundreds of various Google searches in a decade of learning about book awards and working with my clients to win awards. That the Writer's Digest press release is so unusual, which is why I fixated on it as soon as I saw it a couple of years ago, because it is so atypical in terms of disclosure of what's going on. It's kind of under the hood. Also, it's usually unknown, the judges' qualifications or their identities, so that nobody can pop up with a bribe or some kind of a deal to offer a judge or special comment to mention about books that they know that someone might know is coming through their system. It's also unknown what the judging process and scoring system is. Many of the programs have a, 10, 20, 30, or even 100-word paragraph about their judging system, but it really doesn't tell you how it works. It doesn't tell you about the tiers of judges, the tiers going up the pyramid, with the winners being eventually at the top. It doesn't tell you about the scoring system, how important a cover is versus technical errors like typos or misuse of words versus the main content or character development or the arc of a story. Doesn't reveal any of that. So that transparency, while I consider it a big plus, it is also, we need to recognize it does cause suspicion and concern in some corners of the world. Another big picture item is that pursuing awards always requires multiple months. And a comprehensive service like ours will support and encourage you through all those months, or even years, if that's how long it takes, to learn the winners of all the awards that you've decided to apply for. Know, however, that you can manage the time span of your awards pursuit based on which awards you choose to apply for. And that's another part of our service's deliverables. You might wonder, why does it take so long? Well, first, you have to research the right awards to decide to apply for. And this can take a day or two with help from someone like us, or it can take months if you get bogged down with the research or if you're unsure about your best options and basically get stuck. Once you do the research and you know which awards you want to apply for, then of course you apply when each program that you intend to submit to, when their submission period opens, they open the window, and most of those periods are open from 1 to 8 months. So that takes some time as well. And if your budget is tight, you will want to choose awards that stretch out your overall submission schedule in order to match when you have needed application fees. So look at a situation where an author might want to apply for 6 awards, might want to stretch the budget over 3 years. And each of those 3 years, they wait for the submission window to open. Then they submit their book. Then the submission window closes. Then the judging period starts. And that can take another 3 to 6 months while we all wait for the announcement of the winners. So for many authors applying for many of the awards in our curated database, it can be nearly a full year process. And so there's for many authors, there's a penalty for dallying because it may close out some of the opportunities that fall into the time frame that the author has in mind for their launch or other big events that they might be planning, big conference they might be hosting, or whatever. And so this is another reason, in my view, it's never too early to look seriously into the awards that might be the best ones for you, your book, and your goals. Common elements of the programs. This kind of gives you the lay of the land of the industry. There are over 450 awarding programs that recognize the 10,000 English language books and authors yearly. 120 of them do not meet our standards, and we consider only 143 as the best of the rest. And the way we do that is by assessing 15 aspects of how they've operated in recent years, their reputation in the industry and with authors, the quality of their winners, etc. This is how we determine the right and wrong awards for an author to consider. And we believe awards pursuits are about quality and not quantity. And here's a breakdown of our favorite 143 programs. You can apply for any of their 5,000 awards. And those awards have slots for over 12,000 winners because there are first, second, third winners for a great many of them, or it's one winner and up to a dozen or so finalists, or they may call it authors who are long-listed and short-listed. And all of these are publicized as winners by the programs. So that's how the 5,000 awards that you or I have to choose from when we're deciding which to apply for turn into 12,000 winners. However, many hundreds of those 12,000 slots have no winners each year. And it's a different group of unawarded yearly based on which awards had 0 books submitted for them, or which of them had books submitted, but none of them were deemed to be of the right quality, award-worthy quality, as we say. So another point on the key elements is that most programs announce awards annually, and a very few announce quarterly, and even fewer, I would say maybe only 7 or 8 of the 143 of our best of the rest, do it monthly, where they have basically a continuous system for submitting your book, and then they do instant judging, continuous instant judging. But it still takes 3 or 4 months after you've submitted, even with those folks, to find out whether and what you won. Most of these programs recognize between 1 and 3 books, as I mentioned, first, second, third, gold, silver, bronze, in each of their 30 to 100 fiction and nonfiction categories. The range of that is that there's 1 to 20 books instead of just 1 to 3. 1 to 20 are considered winners for some programs, for each of some programs' award categories. And some have only 1 category. And I would say 2 of them have over 200 categories. So awards are given by category. Your category might be a genre name, or a topic name, or a location for a regional location. So if you have 200 categories, there are a great many, for the two programs that have the 200 categories plus, great many very specific categories to apply for awards. And those specific categories are usually the ones that, of course, are much easier to win because there's less competition, fewer other authors submitting their books. The approximate submission fee is $100 per book per category, plus or minus $25, I would say. And the range of that is some of them are $30, $40, $50 at the low end, and one of them just hit $350 as the application fee last year. So a wide range to accommodate all kinds of author budgets. Many programs encourage multiple category submissions. So if you submit your book in one category, they will charge a standard fee, but for second or third categories for that same book to be submitted to, you might get $20 or even $30 off. on each of the additional submissions. And you also have the factor that some of the award programs have early bird pricing for a month or two or three in the early part of when their submission period is open. And there again, you might save 20, 30, probably not any more than 30, but 20 or $30 per submission by going the early bird route. Almost all of the programs accept self-published books, and this is a new factor that's really just developed in the last 20 years. You might say new, 20 years new. Well, in the publishing industry, which is a couple hundred years old, yes, 20 years means recent development to publishing insiders. The industry is like a dinosaur. It does, or like a big elephant, it does not move that fast. Almost all of them now accept PDFs, and some will only accept PDFs, even if you are applying for an award for your printed book. And so in this case, we've got all these programs learned through the COVID years how much easier it was to handle judging and moving books around among judges, various parts of the judging team, to be cross-judged for different factors. The industry discovered through COVID how much easier it was to deal with PDFs instead of the previous boxes of books that were always required every time an author applied for an award. There are still a couple of places that ask for boxes of books. They want 4 copies, 5 copies, 8 copies in a box. They'll give you the label as soon as you've paid for your submission fee. But it's a very short list now that has adopted that, and PDFs really rule the world. So even if you're publishing your book only in Kindle, you want to be sure to get a PDF made, because that's very likely what any awards that you apply for. Plus, you can sell PDFs from your website. They're great giveaways. For lots of reasons, a PDF is the way to go when you're thinking about your book's production. Many of the programs accept audiobooks, and that number is growing heavily each year. There are now a couple of 100 awards that we consider quality awards for audiobooks, and I would say 3 years ago, there were only about 35, 38 maybe. So that's a huge growth, and we continue to see that growth in the market overall of bookmaking, and so I'm expecting it will also continue in the book awarding industry. As I mentioned, touched on a moment ago, many no longer accept printed books. And that, of course, is a total reversal of the 100% print awards world of the 1990s, where that's all there was. It was before Amazon. That was before digital anything. So that, too, has been a huge industry adjustment. Most accept books written in the last 2 or 3 years, plus over 2,000 of the 10,000 awards, the 10,000 plus awards that we spot being given every year. Over 2,000 of them are given to books that can have any publication date at all, even one from decades ago. And these are called legacy awards, legacy books, legacy awards. 2,000 of the 10,000 given every year fit in that category. Only 3,500 of the 10,000 plus yearly awards require submitted books to have an ISBN. A lot of authors don't feel the need to invest in an ISBN. And so that is no longer, unlike in the 90s, that is no longer something that prevents that author from going for awards and winning them. So that's just a 1 out of 3 requirement. Virtually all provide digital and actual seals or stickers for winners' books and for websites. Some of these programs charge for these. Some of them will give you 20 free and then charge. Some of them will only offer authors free ones. So there's some variety in that. But seals and stickers are definitely the bread and butter of winners' benefits. Some awards include free extras for winners, such as publicity, and a few dozen give a cash prize. Some provide a published book review, and one even comes with a free listing at a speakers bureau. Another one comes with a podcast interview on a prominent author-based podcast. So the buckets of prizes for winners is getting more and more creative as the programs compete with each other for applicants, authors who apply. And so they're kind of approaching new ground here and there at the edges with their creativity in order to differentiate themselves. And that's something that I expect will continue. Some have in-person award celebrations and photo ops, while others have virtual celebrations and have stayed virtual since COVID and don't seem to be migrating back. So, as part of the calculus of which awards are the right ones to apply for, that's another factor to consider as to whether the photo op of a celebration is important, would be important to your marketing plan. And of course, we have to talk about questionable programs. There are less legitimate programs all over the map, and I would say the way to identify them, they are much less frequent than they were 10 or I would say 15 or 20 years ago, because many of them have just been shamed out of business because their questionable practices came to light throughout the industry and were widely distributed. As information bits information stories everybody was gabbing about for a while. But I would say anybody who charges for required author services before you'll even be considered to apply for an award is definitely a sign of a questionable program. I would also say anybody who solicits you with an email saying, saw your book, loved it, you can win this award if you'll just sign here and give us some money. So legitimate awarding programs do not solicit authors to apply for their awards. They work with publishers, book PR firms, influencers, the media. They do not solicit authors. So beware if you ever get one of those emails. A lot of authors consider it's really not legitimate to pay for an award. They think that if you're going to get an award, it should be free. But and I hear that cynicism all the time. But the reality is judging awards can be very expensive. Look back at the Writer's Digest example I gave you, 5,500 submissions. I don't even want to guess how many judges they had. They needed to go through 5,500 books in just a few months. I was a judge. I had 40 books. I had 4 months to read them all and score them and turn my scores back in. And that was an intense 4 months for me. I couldn't devote any more than 4 months of my life in terms of how it took over my days than that. So it's an expensive proposition because award judges are generally paid. It's not a volunteer job. There are some volunteers here and there on the margins that might give the books the first look, score covers, and briefly in a few hours be able to process a whole bunch of scoring maneuvers, but in the main, judges are paid. So it is an expensive proposition. Yes, these programs take in a lot of money at $100 a pop, 5,500 submissions. That's $500,000 that came into Writer's Digest that year. But I don't imagine they had a lot of profit at the end of the day as they sent their judges home and onto their normal lives at the end of the cycle. So the reality is book marketing is often pay to play. And I think authors need to have that mindset and understand, yes, there are some free things, getting Amazon reviews, and being included in bundles, being included in summits where you can, with other authors, where you can promote your book to a given audience you share. There are some free opportunities, absolutely. But in general, there are lots and lots of pay-to-play book marketing tactics. For instance, try to get an Amazon ad without paying Amazon. Or try to get a Kirkus, good luck trying to get a Kirkus review without paying Kirkus a few $100s. So I think authors need to be prepared for that. And I'm trying to dispel the thought that, only legitimate awards don't cost anything, because that is just not true. In reality, for a Nobel Prize for Literature is, I believe, the only award I can think of, quality award I can think of that you don't have to apply for, and you can't apply for. You cannot apply for it, and so therefore it doesn't cost anything. But even the Pulitzer Prize, last year to nominate your book for a Pulitzer Prize cost an author $75 application fee. So that's my opinion about all of that. Typical submission process components. There's always a purpose statement that describes the program, and these are, generally fall into one, very many of them fall into one big bucket of, awarding excellence in literature, in authorship, and thought leadership. It's about excellence and recognition, and a great many of the purpose statements fall in that category. But some of them, divert. Some of them focus on specific regions of the country, authors from a certain region, or authors of a certain ethnicity that they want to promote and highlight. Some of them have even I would say incentive or a purpose statement that dances around the program leaders' pet projects. A couple of them actually talk about the support that their program provides for certain favorite nonprofits, hoping that that will encourage authors who care about those same nonprofits to consider those programs to apply for. So there is some variety in the purpose statements, and they are worth looking at if you're considering, as you're considering what programs to be submitting your book to. Then there are eligibility requirements that define the characteristics of the welcome submissions. There also may be, for instance, that may be the printed versus digital versus audio. Or that might be certain years, publication dates would fall in that category as well. Then there might be special requirements, such as having your book for sale somewhere. And there are a few dozen of our 143 best of the rest that do have that requirement. So you have to give them the Amazon link on your application when you're online, paying your money and submitting your book. And of course, ISBNs is another kind of special requirement that I just mentioned. Then you need to conduct your research, compare awards to consider, and decide which ones to avoid and which to apply for. After that, it's a very simple online shopping transaction. It takes just a very few minutes. It's very simple. This is not like applying for college where you have essay questions to have to impress the judges with. Most of the awards programs don't want to see your marketing materials. They don't want to see your Amazon description page. Many of them will remove the cover and the title page from the version of the book that the judges see, so the judge doesn't even know who the author is. They are just judging the book, not any of the extraneous outside factors. I'm sorry, I don't know where I was going with that, but at any rate, I hope that tuck that away. I hope that's useful to know. So you have your shopping cart taking your immediate payment. Then you upload your submitted PDF, or if they are one of the few programs that want a box of your books for the judges, they will provide you the label so that you can mail them right away. You then get a receipt and a confirmation email that are sent to whoever the submitter is, whether it's you or someone in your world. So in summary, after you've completed your research, it's really easy to apply for several within an hour. We've seen some programs, or we've seen some service providers in the Book Awards world charge hefty fees for just doing that application work, but it really is no more than an online shopping transaction. The questions that you answer with your application online are very simple. Your title, your author's real name, your author's pen name, if there is one, your ISBN, if there is one, your publication date, if they care, your Amazon link, if they care, and then they want your credit card information, and that's it. More components. The last couple here. An email link to the winners list is then sent to all the winners on announcement day. Often, though, the non-winners are never informed. That is the norm, I must admit. I'm sorry to say that is. So for Writer's Digest example, they did not send 5,500 emails that year. They only sent 46. So when you apply, be sure to mark your calendar and to check every winner's list that you hope to see yourself on shortly after the expected announcement date to just be sure that an email that they sent you as a winner didn't get lost on its way to you. Really monitor those winner lists because they don't give you, the programs just don't give you a lot of help on that front. And then, of course, after announcement day, last step, the winners are informed how to access their seals, their stickers, and any other awards benefits. Now, essentials to win.
And Carol, just to let you know, we have 5 minutes left in the presentation time. So you may want to also talk about your process. And I'm going to have to open up another room. So what I'll do is I'll hop off and you can just continue the conversation.
So in 5 minutes, it cuts off? Is that what you're saying?
I'll make you host and you can continue, but the workshop, the mastermind, the conversation today was 60 minutes, so we have 5 minutes.
All right, thank you. All right, essentials to win then. Create a quality book of compelling content that's well thought out and presented. And for the best chance of winning, express a new point of view, an author voice, experience, or story. You need to invest in a professional cover and internal design, formatting, editing, and proofreading. You want to conduct careful research to identify the awards. Be sure the category you submit your book to is right for your book and the judge's eyes. And reviewing the past winners list will help here. You need to check that you and your book meet all the requirements of the awards you consider applying for. You don't want to get tossed out as a disqualifier just because you didn't follow one of the rules on the requirements, and follow all the instructions. So I'm flooded with pride every time I write or say I'm a multi-award winning author, and I want that feeling for you. And now I'm going to skip ahead a bit just to briefly mention our program, Book Award Mastery, the research planning and application service. The service is fully personalized awards options, insights, advice, training, and action planning that are specific to your number one goal. And it's all about the goal in our world. So we have 3 programs we sell. One is for authors who want to sell more books. This is where all the fiction authors and a few of the nonfiction authors fit, selling more books. Author goal number 2 that we have a plan for is build your business with your book. And number 3 is become an industry leader through your book's expertise. Oh, shoot. I'm sorry, I'm just skipping through a bunch of these briefly. I have a little gift for you. Special gift, PDF. I think Linda's got this link for the chat. 22 free and nearly free ways to promote your award-winning book. Success tactics used by all the pros. And then you'll get monthly tidbits about book awards once you are on our list after you download that, unless, of course, you unsubscribe. So that link is bookmastery.com/22-ways-award/L-global. And we begin working with a new group of authors every month. And you can join now if you'd like to get a solid start on your award process before year end by going to the link here. Again, it's in the chat, I believe, bookawardmastery.com/sign-up/L-global. You'll get our kickoff email soon thereafter, and you'll always be able to work at your own pace through the months of your awards pursuit. Or you can contact me at bookawardmastery.com/contact/L-global. You can ask me any questions you've got or learn about our next monthly start date if you are ready to actually begin researching awards.